Hello and welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
I am Darren.
And I'm Hex, and we are back from Japan. Yay!
Oh, we had so much fun. And Darren, we saw a lot of robots there.
I'm sure they were glorious. Did you bring me back anything from Tokyo?
Maybe we did, Darren. Oh, how about an official PlayStation 1 original condition, mint condition?
It's even got the original CD-ROM. Marvellous.
Would you also like to see a little bit of a peek at what we got up to?
Oh, affirmative. Oh, that was wonderful.
Well, we'll show you everything from our trip next week, but right now we're just excited to be back, so let's play some games.
Yes, coming up on the show, the very weird Puppeteer.
Plus, Scribblenauts DC Unmasked. All right, well, I'll go read some news.
Okay. Oh, Darren, we went to a whole restaurant in Japan that was robot-themed, and the robots sang and danced. It was amazing. You would have loved it.
Oh, it sounds like my cup of tea. Maybe I should audition.
Yeah, I mean, these were professional singing and dancing robots. So.
But I'm a professional.
Bajo here with the news from around the world. Portal creators Valve have announced they are developing a range of consoles dubbed Steam Machines. No extra information has been given on the hardware, but the consoles will be available in a range of specifications starting from next year. Valve also revealed a new controller that has no thumbsticks, but instead has two large trackpads that feature advanced force feedback. A mapping company known as Ordnance Survey has created a 1-to-1 scale replica of Great Britain in Minecraft, making it the largest virtual world ever created. Using a special program to turn their map data into Minecraft blocks, Ordnance ended up with a world over 220,000 square kilometers big, made of over 22 billion blocks. The map is available for download, however, it is over 5 gigabytes. And finally, this robot known as Skinner has become the first robot to solve a Rubik's Cube in under a second.
I could play you my new demo if you like.
Oh, I don't need to hear your demo, Darren.
Stop without me. Okay, I'm back.
Okay, guys, well, it's time to fire up those imaginations because we've got a new Scribblenauts game to review.
Yes, and it's all about DC superheroes.
What makes a hero? Is it power? Is it speed? Is it facing your fear?
The Scribblenauts series has been around for years now, allowing players to solve puzzles by conjuring up virtually anything their minds can dream of, as long as there's a word for it.
This time out, little Maxwell and his sister Lily are sitting around one day enjoying their comic books when they start arguing over which superhero is best, Batman or Superman. So, Maxwell and Lily decide to settle their argument by combining their powers of creation to visit the DC universe for themselves. But it all goes terribly wrong when Lily's globe explodes, sending Starrites everywhere and leaving them stranded. Hex, I just had so much fun trying to think of DC characters that I know to see if they were in the game, and they pretty much all were.
Yeah, and there's thousands of them, which is really impressive. Plus, there's not just one version of each, but pretty much all of the versions. So you type in Batman, and you're given a whole range of Batmans to choose from.
You can never have too many Batman.
Now, this version of Scribblenauts is a bit different from previous games. It's broken up into 3 major universes, with Batman, Superman, and the Green Lantern all having their own sets of levels. So Batman has levels like Gotham City and Wayne Manor, while Superman has Metropolis and the Fortress of Solitude.
Each level is fairly open, but has one major mission where you can grab a precious Starrite piece. But since you're now in the role of a superhero, the focus of the game is actually on reputation points.
You use these points mostly for unlocking more levels, but each set of levels has its own type of reputation, so reputation earned in Superman's levels can only be used to unlock more Superman levels.
I like that you get less reputation points if you repeat words or use overly helpful words, because that encourages you to be creative.
And occasionally there's the trickster of the DC universe, with quite possibly the most difficult name to pronounce. Mr. Matricazulator? Mr. Mizikazita.
Mr. Tharubi?
Hex, it's Mixyezpitalik.
Yes, thanks, Darren, that's the one. Mizikazulator. So he will occasionally offer you double reputation in exchange for accepting certain challenges. So he could ask you to only use words that start with a D, or maybe just apply random adjectives to everything in the world. Although missions are random, so it may actually become impossible to solve some puzzles if you accept his challenge.
There's also now a superhero creator, so you can build your own characters. To be honest, I found it a bit underwhelming. It wasn't very easy to use, and it seemed like all you could do to customize your character was put stickers over them, which actually was really fiddly to do. I wanted to give Bajo Man a cape, but all it could do was put the cape on the front of him.
Also, it's worth noting that we played the PC version, but the Wii U and 3DS versions are essentially the same game, except the 3DS version does not feature the superhero creator, which is a tad unfair.
I really like the concepts and the ideas behind the Scribblenauts games. In fact, I like them more than actually playing the game. I just find the actual gameplay mechanics a bit dull. In other games, it's always been something like the camera or the controls that bothered me, but here I just needed that combat to be better. And there's a much bigger focus on that combat this time around, but it's a bit of a mess. There's so much going on that you just end up hitting other characters and making them angry.
I quite like that craziness, Bajo. It's part of the Scribblenauts' charm. Plus, what other game lets you summon the Justice League and dinosaurs to fight evil villains?
I think my expectations were just a bit high for this game because I love the ideas so much. I just don't think they executed it very well. So I'm giving this 6 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think you're being too harsh. I think this is a wonderful toy box full of possibilities, so I'm giving it 8.
All this talk of superhero powers has made me want to go for a bit of a fly around the world.
Ooh, lucky for you, Darren.
Clear the launch pad, you two. Ready for takeoff, Terry. Launching in 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Off I go! Hello and welcome to Gaming Around the World with me, Darren. Today we shall look at the United Kingdom. The Palace of Westminster. Did you know that Big Ben is the nickname for the great bell inside of the clock and not the clock itself? Oh, look! Stonehenge! How magnificent! Archaeologists believe it was built almost 5,000 years ago. Oh, the mysteries of the Druids. And Buckingham Palace. The detail is exceptional. And the Queen is a lovely lady. I've had lunch with her. For centuries, the UK has been home to some of the world's greatest scientists, mathematicians, and inventors. And it is this culture of innovation that has made the UK one of the world leaders in video game development. In 1812, Englishman Charles Babbage came up with the idea of a programmable computer. He even tried to make one, but the technology wasn't quite ready for prime time. A century later, the UK was home to Alan Turing, the father of computer science. Not only did Turing actually get some computers to work, he used them to help win World War II by cracking the Nazis' secret codes. In 1980, Clive Sinclair released the ZX80. It was the first mass-market home computer that cost less than £100, bringing video games into millions of British living rooms and inspiring a whole generation to start making games themselves. Close to half of the world's top 100 developers are based in the UK, and some of the best video games in the world are British-made. Games like Wipeout, Lemmings, Worms, and so many others. Today, the UK is home to over 63 million humans, almost 3 times the population of Australia, and 1 in 3 of them consider themselves gamers. Britons are particularly fond of soccer, or as they call it, football. So much so that they not only buy games where you can play football, but where you can manage football teams by staring at screens full of numbers for hours on end. Sounds like my idea of a good time. Other more recent developments include the PlayStation 2 iToy, the ARM chip, now used in 95% of the world's smartphones, and the Raspberry Pi, the affordable Linux computer that makes learning to program fun. The United Kingdom, the cradle of computer science and home to millions of happy gamers. Back to you, Bajo and Hex.
Oh, Hex, it's good to be back at the Ask Good game desk. Who's up first today?
All right, well, how about we go with this one from Elephant Man, who is in Hyrule, Queensland. Hi, guys. I'm stuck with which game I want to buy. I want to buy Rayman Legends or TMNT Out of the Shadows because I'm a Ninja Turtles fan and it has a good price. Please answer.
Well, as a big Ninja Turtles fan myself, I'd say you should definitely not get Out of the Shadows. Yes, it's cheap, but it's pretty broken in a lot of ways. And I'd say it's one of the most disappointing games of the year.
Whereas Rayman Legends is one of the best platforming games ever, so I think that's a pretty easy decision. It might cost a little bit more, but trust me, it's worth it.
Yes, and we both gave Rayman Legends 9.5 out of 10 in our review, whereas I think you gave Out of the Shadows 3 Hex, and I think I gave it 2 begrudgingly. I really wanted to give it 1, if that's any indication about how we feel about it.
All right, well, let's move on to this one from Gamba, who is in Perth, Western Australia.
I want to ask, how come you won't review Minecraft again? When you reviewed it, it was in a very early version. And it wasn't that good, and I'm pretty sure you didn't include the features like resource/texture packs and mods. Well, Gamba, we have already reviewed it, I think, 3 or 4 times now, which is a lot more than we review most games, and I think we've said just about all there is to say about it.
Yeah, the game first came out in 2009, and we reviewed it once on our adult show in 2010, then again while it was in beta in 2011 on Spawn Point, and then twice in 2012 when it was officially finished, and then again when it came out on Xbox 360.
That's a lot of reviews. It certainly is a game that has grown over the years though, isn't it? And I definitely feel like it's much better now than when we first played it way back in 2010. Because back then I gave it 7.5, and in 2012 I gave it 9 out of 10. There's been a lot of features added to the game since then too.
Yeah, and we did mention mods and texture packs in the reviews, and I think we're pretty happy with our scores for the PC and Xbox versions. Bajo, 8s on 360, and 9s, I think, on PC and Mac.
Yes.
We might have a quick look at the PlayStation version whenever that comes out, if it's different enough, but I think we can leave Minecraft reviews for now. Let's move on to this one from Princess Gum Bubble in the land of E, Victoria. I really love playing Zelda games, and I've just finished playing Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. And now I'm looking for a new Zelda game to play. I don't have a Wii U, but I have a 3DS, and I was wondering if Wind Waker was going to come out on the 3DS or just the Wii U. Thanks, bye. Well, Your Highness Gum Bubbles, sadly, no, Wind Waker is not coming to the 3DS, but there are actually loads of other Zelda games available in the eShop. You can get the very first Zelda game ever, The Legend of Zelda, and then there's the second one too, The Adventure of Link.
Oh, Hex, I don't recognise that ringtone. Which phone is this? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Oh, it's the calculator phone.
Calculator phone?
Yeah, I just installed a phone inside the calculator.
Oh.
Bajo speaking.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Darren.
Don't forget, they also have the first portable Zelda game ever, Link's Awakening, as well as the 2 later portable Zeldas, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. So that's a lot of Zelda to choose from. Oh, and of course there's a brand new Zelda coming out just for the 3DS called A Link Between Two Worlds.
Oh, I see what they've done there, Darren. He's called Link, and there are things that link things together, and like links.
Oh, it's like a link between two worlds.
It's a link between two worlds.
Yeah, I think we all get it, Bajo.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the first Zelda game made from scratch for the 3DS.
And that's due to come out in just a couple of months on November 22.
Yes, all right. Well, thanks so much, Darren.
Oh, no worries at all.
That's
Goodbye.
great. All right, well, let's move on to this one from Prime Minister Crazy Cube Eating Dog Loving Noob Hater, who is in New South Wales.
Sounds like a complicated fellow. Hello, fellow gamer friends. It is me, Super Dog's cousin. 1. Darren's scary story, it's weird. My friend's nickname is Eggwood Hero Byron. 2. Is the Lone Ranger game, is it hard for a 5-year-old? 3. Hex, do these. And P.S. Hex is the best ever. Well, I guess that first one isn't really a question, but Eggwood is a cool name. As for number 2, well, I assume you're talking about the Lone Ranger playset for Disney Infinity, as opposed to the 1991 Nintendo Entertainment System game of the same name.
Thanks for the kind words there, Prime Minister, but we'd say that, yeah, Lone Ranger playset is no harder than any other of the set campaigns, so if you've struggled with those, then you might find it a bit tough. Otherwise, you should be okay with it. Anyway, moving on to this one from Joseph, who is in Melbourne, Victoria.
What's the difference between a Prime Minister and a Prime Minister?
Prime Minister is a little bit shorter.
Of course.
in stature. Has to stand on an apple box when they go up to the podium.
And of course, a Prime Minister looks like Optimus Prime.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, precisely. Hi, GGSP. I absolutely love your show. Now, on to my question. I'm having trouble in defeating Cerberus on Final Mix in Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix. Do you have any advice on how to beat him? Thanks for answering.
Yes, Joseph, Cerberus is a tough one. It took us quite a few tries to get past him, but I think we can give you a few tips to help out. So, first of all, make sure you're well prepared. You can never have enough magic in this fight, so ethers are good and potions are obviously good for healing yourself. And if you've got a mega potion, it's a good idea to bring that too, in case Donald and Goofy go down, which they probably will.
Then during the fight, we'd say start off by keeping your distance and using your thunder magic attack as much as possible. Using your ethers when your magic runs out so that you can get a few more hits in.
Eventually, you'll have to get in close to attack with your Keyblade, and the trick here is all about timing and patience. Watch his attack patterns and go in when he leaves a gap open, and don't get greedy, get a hit in or two, and then run away before he can strike back.
And just keep that up and do your best to dodge his attacks, and you should be able to get through him. But good luck with it, Joseph, it's a tough one. But let's move on to this one from Poseidon, god of sea, who is in the ocean and about to make Darren short circuit with a wave.
Oh no, we have to warn him! Darren! Darren!
Hello.
Darren, are you about to get hit by a wave?
Yes, Spalding said they're about to short circuit you with a wave.
Poseidon or something?
Oh, negative. My submersible mode is able to withstand any water pressure. I'm currently at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. I feel fine.
Of course, he's got that little submarine suit that kind of
right.
goes over him, remember? It's like a little dome.
And a little fan comes out the back, and he little propeller fan things.
I'm currently researching some new sandwich fillings. Some exotic marine life down here. It looks very tasty.
nice.
Sounds exciting. Well, good luck, Darren.
Good luck, Darren.
Thank you.
Hi, GGSP. I've asked many questions, and you never answered them, so please answer this one. Okay, are there any games based on the Olympics or on the Greek gods like Zeus? P.S. Darren, watch out, I'm after you. P.P.S. Bajo and Hex, please tell him to watch out. Well, Poseidon, there are plenty of Olympic-based video games, but generally they tend not to be very good. Most of the time, they're just a collection of mini-games that involve lots of button mashing.
Yeah, the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series is probably the most fun Olympic-based games around, but they're still not that amazing in our opinion.
Yeah, and as for games based on Greek gods, well, there's a few around, but probably our favourite would be Age of Mythology, which was basically a version of Age of Empires, but with a focus on mythology from ancient Greek, Egyptian, and Norse cultures.
Yeah, it's pretty old now, but I think you can still find copies of it quite easily, and you won't need a massively powerful PC to play it.
And don't forget, there was also a pretty good version for the DS.
Yeah. All right, and with that, we're out of time for this week. Don't forget you can send in your questions to ask us here. Now, back to the studio, Bajo.
Okay, Hex, away!
Away.
Right, well, we've seen a lot of great platformers for the PS3 over the years, but it's rare that we find one with as much flair as Puppeteer.
Just destroyed Kutaro!
Puppeteer really has a lot of fun with its old-fashioned stage play setting, doesn't it? I just love the way those wooden sets pop up dramatically.
Did you hear that, dear? Then get your Heidi in gear!
And there are so many nice little details, like being able to see all the chiseled wood grain on the characters, or the spotlights that follow the characters around. They even have an imaginary little audience that laughs along with the action on stage.
There, the witch's bloomers.
I thought it was especially clever the way the play goes into intermission when you pause it. But we should talk about the game's hero, Kutaro. The dastardly Moon Bear King beheads him, but luckily he's got the ability to pick up and use random objects as makeshift heads.
I was a bit torn on the whole heads thing. I liked how crazy they all looked, and it's cool the way the head works as your health bar. Getting hit by something sends Kutaro's head rolling off. If you can pick it up again quickly enough, then he'll be fine, but losing all his heads means game over. It's a bit like Sonic and his rings, but the heads don't have any real use, so it's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There are a handful of moments where having the right head unlocks extra collectibles, but you're right, it would have been so much cooler if the heads gave you special abilities, like being able to fly when you had a winged head, for example. But, you know, it's not that big an issue because there's so many other things that this game does that's really innovative.
Oh, affirmative. Kutaro is helped by some ghostly friends who hover around the screen. If you're playing by yourself, you can send them around the screen to find extra bits of treasure. It's even possible to have the ghosts controlled by a second person with a Move controller. They can help you out during the action by knocking dangers out of Kutaro's path.
I was pleasantly surprised at how well the Move controller worked for this game. A lot of Move games are a bit gimmicky, so it's nice to see it being used cleverly for a change. And I could see this as a good way for younger spawnlings to play as the ghost, while someone older does the main platforming.
Puppeteer's best trick, though, has got to be Calabrus. Now, it sounds like a superhero villain, but it's actually a pair of magical scissors. Because the backgrounds are made of floating pieces, the scissors can cut right through them. And thanks to the magic of Calabrus, you can fly as long as you have something to cut. So this leads to some amazing acrobatics.
Affirmative. The Calabrus is particularly effective when you're fighting the game's bosses. These huge, hulking creatures might look scary, but they're often held together by cloth, which is a bad idea when your game's hero packs a pair of giant scissors.
Yes, it's fun cutting them down to size, isn't it? And they just look so cool. Just look at this cat boss. It takes up most of the screen. Awesome. And in general, it's such a good looking game. Every set and character feels really unique and is packed with loads of personality.
Stop that!
Those cutscenes are a bit long though, aren't they? There's just so much chit chat when there's not much happening on screen. Skip it. Skip it. Skip it. Platformers are meant to be fast and punchy and keep you moving. This isn't an RPG, you guys.
I don't know, Badge, I think you're missing out, especially when the voice acting is so brilliant.
Onward, ye knaves! The bear shall pay the price for his crimes.
I mean, they've clearly put a lot of work into creating those larger-than-life personalities that you'd find in a comedic stage play. And I think it's wonderful that after decades of platformers, they're still finding new and fresh ways to take on this genre. So I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
I love the look of this game. It's got so much style. I gave it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week, but next week on the show, our entire trip to Japan in full.
Well, that's not completely accurate, Hex, because we wouldn't show the whole thing in full because that would be a week long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very fun to watch.
This is shortened
Short a
version.
bit.
Yeah.
Is there a word for noob in Japan?
Oh! You know, Darren, Bajo and I were very impressed with how neat the Den of Gaming was after we got back from our trip. Looks like you and Goose did a pretty good job of looking after the show.
Oh, we were consummate professionals.
Hang on a sec, what's this? What's this mess? I found this on
Popcorn.
the ground.
That's just some reviewing snacks. It was all goose.
Oh, that's fine, Darren. Everyone needs to keep their strength up.
Well, until next week, Bajo out.
Hex out.
Darren out.
This is great. We should make this a regular thing.
Yeah.
Oh, with my last upgrade, I can make as much as you want.
Oh, really?
Really?
Does the popcorn, does it come out of your head? Is it like a fireworks of popcorn? And then we can just go,
That would be very wasteful,
I feel like
Bajo.
I'm at the movies.
Now, put on a show for us, Darren.